Welcome to what might be the messiest, most controversial, and downright thrilling college football season ever. 1973. A season so chaotic that when the dust settled, 6 major teams stood undefeated. 6. Imagine all the arguing. Now, to understand how this happened, we need to go back and look at college football in the early 1970s. In 1973, polls ruled the world. The national champion was determined by 2 major polls. The Associated Press AP poll, voted on by sports writers, and the United Press International UPI poll, which reflected the opinions of coaches. The AP poll announced its champion after the bowl games, but the UPI crowned its champion before the bowls were played. Sounds like the dumbest system ever, right? The bowl system was ruled by conference tie-ins dictating matchups, meaning that the best teams often didn't even face each other. The Big Ten champion went to the Rose Bowl to face the Pac-8 champion. The SEC champion usually headed to the Sugar Bowl, and the Big 8 champ went to the Orange Bowl. It was regional, traditional, and absolutely not designed to determine a true national champion. So now let's meet our cast of characters, the 6 undefeated Titans heading into bowl season. First up, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Under the legendary Paul Bear Bryant, Alabama was a fearsome machine in 1973. They went 11-0 in the regular season, absolutely demolishing opponents with their wishbone offense. No team came within a touchdown all season, and they posted an average scoring margin of 30 points. They were the undisputed number 1 in both polls heading into the bowls, and the UPI had already crowned them national champions before they even played their final game. Next, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Coached by Ara Parseghian, Notre Dame went 10-0 in the regular season. They had a statement win over number 6 USC, winning 23-14 in South Bend. Their quarterback, Tom Clements, was a dual-threat star, and they had All-American Dave Casper at tight end and Mike Townsend in the defensive backfield. Third, the Ohio State Buckeyes. In his 23rd season, Woody Hayes had built another powerhouse in Columbus. They went 9-0-1 in the regular season, with their only blemish being a 10-10 tie with arch-rival Michigan. Their defense was absolutely suffocating, giving up just 3.9 points per game. They were led by sophomore running back Archie Griffin, who would go on to win the Heisman Trophy in both 1974 and 1975, and John Hicks, who won the Outland Trophy and Lombardi Award and finished second in Heisman voting as an offensive lineman. Fourth, the Michigan Wolverines. Under Bo Schembechler, Michigan matched Ohio State stride for stride, going 10-0-1 with that damnable tie against the Buckeyes. They had outscored opponents 330-68 over the season and featured All-Americans Dave Gallagher and Dave Brown. That tie with Ohio State would prove crucial to their fate. More on that drama in a moment. Fifth, the Oklahoma Sooners. In Barry Switzer's first year as head coach, the Sooners were an offensive juggernaut. They went 10-0-1 with their only blemish being an early season 7-7 tie with number 1 USC. They dominated number 13 Texas 52-13 and shut out number 10 Nebraska 27-0. Their offense was lethal, with quarterback Steve Davis accounting for 27 total touchdowns and running back Joe Washington rushing for over 1,100 yards. Oklahoma was put on probation by the Big 8 in 1973. They were banned from bowl play and TV appearances for 2 years. Next up, and finally, the Penn State Nittany Lions. Under Joe Paterno, Penn State put together a perfect 11-0 regular season. Their star was running back John Cappelletti, who won the Heisman Trophy after rushing for 1,522 yards and 17 touchdowns. Oh, wait, but there's more. There was a seventh undefeated team, a bonus. The Miami of Ohio Redskins, now called the Redhawks, went 10-0 in the regular season under coach Bill Mallory. They weren't in the national championship conversation, but they deserve recognition for their perfect season. Now, with the stage set, let's look at what happened when these Titans clashed in the bowl games and the chaos that followed. The most anticipated matchup was the Sugar Bowl between number 1 Alabama and number 3 Notre Dame, a de facto national championship game, and heavens to Betsy, did it deliver. The lead changed hands 6 times in a game for the ages. Notre Dame scored first with a Wayne Bullock touchdown run, though they missed the extra point. Alabama answered to take a 7-6 lead. Then Notre Dame's Al Hunter returned the kickoff 93 yards for a touchdown to make it 14-7. The back and forth continued, and in the fourth quarter, Alabama used a trick play, quarterback Richard Todd catching a 25-yard touchdown pass from halfback Mike Stock to go up 23-21. But they missed the extra point. With just 4:26 remaining, Notre Dame kicker Bob Thomas hit a 19-yard field goal, giving the Irish a 24-23 lead. The drama wasn't over. Alabama punted, pinning Notre Dame on the 1-yard line. But Notre Dame was flagged for roughing the kicker. In 1973, a personal foul penalty wasn't an automatic first down. Bear Bryant declined the penalty, forcing Notre Dame to operate from their own 1-yard line. Accepting the penalty would have put Bama with a 4th and 5 on their own 45. Declining the penalty seemed like a masterstroke. A safety would give Alabama the lead. But on 3rd and 10 from the shadow of their own goalpost, Irish quarterback Clements dropped back and unfurled a daring 35-yard pass to backup tight end Robin Weber, securing a vital first down and allowing Notre Dame to run out the clock. Meanwhile, in Pasadena, Ohio State was set to face USC in the Rose Bowl. But how they got there is one of the most controversial stories in college football history. Remember that 10-10 tie between Ohio State and Michigan? Well, with both teams declared the Big Ten co-champions and only one Rose Bowl bid available, the athletic directors had to vote on who would go to Pasadena. In a controversial 6-4 vote, Ohio State was chosen, partly because Michigan's quarterback Dennis Franklin had broken his collarbone late in their game. Schembechler was livid. He called the decision an embarrassment to the Big Ten Conference and alleged that petty jealousies were involved. He remained bitter about it for the rest of his life. Ohio State then went to the Rose Bowl and delivered a commanding performance, crushing USC 42-21. Over in the Orange Bowl, Penn State completed their perfect season with a 16-9 win over LSU, finishing 12-0. Despite their unblemished record and having the Heisman Trophy winner, they found themselves on the outside looking in. And what about Oklahoma? The Sooners could only watch from home. Despite their 10-0-1 record and Big 8 championship, probation made them ineligible for postseason play. Their absence from a major bowl game removed them from the final championship deliberation. So, with all the bowls completed, who was actually crowned champion? Well, that's where it gets really messy. The final AP poll crowned Notre Dame as the national champions, their victory over Alabama in the Sugar Bowl proving decisive for many voters. They finished with 33 first-place votes. Ohio State came in at number 2 with 11 first-place votes. Many analysts then and now argue their case was as strong as Notre Dame's, citing their more consistent dominance and more impressive victory over USC, a common opponent. Oklahoma, despite their bowl ban, still garnered 16 first-place votes to finish number 3. Their incredible strength of schedule and dominant wins kept them high in many voters' minds. Alabama, the UPI's pre-bowl champ, fell to number 4 in the AP after the Sugar Bowl loss. They still claim the 1973 UPI title. Penn State, despite their perfect 12-0 record, landed at number 5. Their schedule strength was seen as weaker than the others. And Michigan finished number 6, their lack of a bowl appearance due to that controversial Big Ten vote, undoubtedly hurting their final standing. The 1973 season showed the profound flaws in the poll system, particularly the absurdity of the UPI crowning a pre bowl champion who then promptly lost their bowl game. The season was so controversial that the UPI moved to a post bowl format the next year, 1974, a direct consequence of what happened in the 1973 Sugar Bowl. The stockpiling of talent was another reason for so many undefeateds. In January 1973, the NCAA finally introduced a limit of 105 scholarships, with another limit of 30 new scholarships per year. Powerhouse programs could and did sign enormous recruiting classes. Think 40, 50, and even more freshmen in a single year for some teams. They hoarded talent. This meant that the top 10 to 15 programs had a disproportionate share of the nation's best high school talent. This created a significant gap between the haves and have-nots. Still another reason? Look at the coaches involved here. Bear Bryant, Alabama; Woody Hayes, Ohio State; Ara Parseghian, Notre Dame; Bo Schembechler, Michigan. Coaches at their peak or close to it. Then there's Barry Switzer, Oklahoma, though in his first year he inherited a monster and turned out to be an incredible coach. The season created endless what-if scenarios. What if Oklahoma had been bowl eligible? What if Michigan, not Ohio State, had gone to the Rose Bowl? What if a playoff system had existed? So, who really deserved the 1973 national championship? The beauty of college football history is that this debate will never truly end. Each team has their claim, and y'all can argue about it in the comments section. The ending to the 1973 season was complete chaos. It was controversial, and it was absolutely glorious. Thanks for joining me on this trip back to 1973. If you enjoyed this dive into college football history, hit the like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments which historical season you'd like me to cover next. This is John Johnston with Hardcore College Football History. Thank you.